The last name of this morning's guest is Brown. But if you're a small business, he wants you to see green. Find out what it's all about coming up next on All American People. Good morning. Welcome to All American People. This morning we're at the Conway Chamber of Commerce at the foot of the historic Main Street Bridge. We're focused on the chamber and we're visiting with its president, Tom Brown. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Greg, thank you for having
so much
me.
for coming in early this morning, 8 o'clock. The thrill of getting in. And what about this facility?
Oh, this is a nice facility. The chamber is very blessed to have this building.
It is magnificent. Bridget Johnson, your executive director and executive vice president, was with us yesterday here to hear her talk about the mural here. Just coming into the building in and of itself to see this mural is incredible.
It is a beautiful building. It's set, and these kiosks are very nice. And it's a great place for folks to come in and feel welcomed by our staff. And I'm personally very much proud to be a part of it and be president of the chamber. You've
got to be, absolutely. Later this week, we've got someone with us from the Conway Visitors Center, and the excitement of hearing about the Conway Chamber of Commerce and, of course, the Conway Visitors Center. There's a lot going on in Conway.
Yes, it is. I really am honored. The Conway Chamber of Commerce has a rich history, and it's respected throughout the state, and it's the events that it organizes, such as Riverfest. It's won many awards, and I'm just delighted to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Real quick about yourself, Tom. Are you originally from the area?
I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina, and I went to work in the newspaper business through an advertising agency in Asheville in the late 70s. And from there, I actually went to work for Community Newspapers Incorporated, which is a chain of newspapers based out of Athens, Georgia, and I worked in the western North Carolina area for about 8 years with the Franklin Press in Franklin, North Carolina, and then they promoted me to publisher of the Marion Star Mullins Enterprise.
Oh, right here in our viewing area.
Right here in 1997. And I was there until 2000, came to Myrtle Beach, was publisher of the Myrtle Beach Herald
for
a couple of years, and then came over to work with Steve Robertson at the Horry Independent, which is Waccamaw Publishers, in 2002, and I've been with Steve ever since.
Almost a decade now with Waccamaw Publishers.
Yeah, Steve and I get along well. He's a great guy. And, great relationship in terms of our personalities and our skills, and Steve is very much involved in the editorial side, and I oversee the advertising department for the company.
Well, Waccamaw Publishers has been expanding and expanding and expanding, and probably continues to expand, Tom.
It does.
A lot of that since you joined. When you think about Waccamaw Publishers' size when you joined in 2002 to present, share with viewers a little bit about some of the expansion of Waccamaw Publishers.
It has been very fun to be a part of a family-based operation that's very aggressive in its growth. And we did have, when I came on board, there was the Horry Independent, the News and Shopper, and the Loris Scene. Those were our three products at the time. And one of the things that I brought to the table with Steve was I expressed to him I felt like that we needed to actually kind of globalize ourselves, if you will, to Horry County, so that folks would think when they would think of us, that they would not think that we were just Conway or just Loris. So after a lot of thought process on Steve's part, we started the Carolina Forest Chronicle in November of 2007, and it's recognized as one of the best newspapers in the state, journalistically, design-wise. It covers the what we call the central part of Horry County, or Carolina Forest area, with a direct mail distribution that covers every mailbox in that area.
Tremendous.
And then we purchased the Myrtle Beach Herald in April of 2009. And that's a nice addition for us. So we now have I would say because of the news and shoppers distribution, county-wide distribution, that's in excess of 60,000 copies of papers every single week.
That's tremendous.
And the difference between our papers, I think, than a daily newspaper is that our papers are community-based. Right. They're more, I would call, pro-family, pro-business, and more supportive toward what I would call the church community and the local service groups and organizations like the Chamber of Commerce.
Right, right. So. Still high journalistic, I mean, pushing into stories even if they may negatively impact a business or otherwise. I mean, the Waccamaw Publishers
Sure.
papers will do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of a story.
They do, and you know, the truth is the truth, and you can't hide that.
Right.
Steve and I were just talking, I think yesterday, about how to handle both the positive and the negative news that's out there.
Yes.
And I think there's a way for a newspaper to tell the complete story
right.
without having to stir into the mud too much. I mean, if just get the facts out, let the readers interpret for themselves what's going on in the community, as long as they have the facts. And that's something that's important for us to do. That's
tremendous, Tom. If a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family out of the house or just get out of the house in general, is there a good way to learn more about the Conway Chamber of Commerce, to get a little information about the Chamber?
Well, there is. Obviously, you can come here to our office, or
right.
you can go to our website, which is conwayscchamber.com.
Okay.
And our phone number here is 843-248-2273. I would encourage you to call if you're a business owner or an individual who would like to support the business community. We have memberships available, and the cost of our memberships for an individual membership, I believe, is low as $100, and even our small business membership fees are very minimal. I think it's only about $238 a year. And that connects you not just with this building and these people in this building, but that makes you a vital part of the other 500 members who are working together in unison to make our community a better community and to support one another through networking opportunities and by allowing the Chamber to do what it needs to do with community events. Like Riverfest.
Like Riverfest,
yes.
Coming up on June 25th. Bridget talked a little bit about it yesterday. Mm-hmm. Very special, exciting event. Mm-hmm. And to think about it coming year after year and the excitement that is it brews, it's wonderful. And of course, there's also membership that's available, as she talked about yesterday, for nonprofits, and very reasonable cost for them to get involved to really support Conway and the Conway area.
Right. I think it's important for folks in the community understand that the Chamber, in my opinion, and I know I'm prejudiced because I'm the president, but the Chamber is one of those cornerstone organizations in this community. I mean, I can't personally imagine any community, whether at Conway or North Myrtle Beach or Myrtle Beach, not having a Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
In my mind, though, in the smaller communities, the smaller towns like Conway, the Chamber really is the heartbeat of the business community. It's the heartbeat of the community in terms of the organization of the events that we do.
So absolutely.
I think it's critical. If you're a business person out there and you're not connected with a Chamber of Commerce, I don't think there's a better chamber in Horry County for you to be a part of than the Conway Chamber of Commerce.
And that highlights a very important point that Bridget did talk about yesterday, is you've had a lot of members down at the beach, in other parts of throughout the county, even into North Carolina, folks that are interested in Conway and it being the county seat and so much of commerce flowing through Conway. You really need to be a part of the Conway Chamber. Yeah,
as I was saying to you before we went on air, I believe this is the center of the universe. The Main Street Bridge here in Conway is, some folks will say that it's the intersection of 3rd and Main in Conway.
Right.
But in reality, it really is. This is a thriving small town.
Right.
And I'm very proud of our businesses, those who are members and those who are not members, for continuing this tradition, if you will, of this historic southern town that really cares about each other and about its trees. It's
absolutely.
One of those interesting things about Conway that I shared recently with some folks is Conway makes exceptions for trees. We run our streets around the trees.
Thanks to Mary Beatty and others. That's exactly right. Exactly. Tom, share with viewers about how your year is going as president of the Chamber of Commerce.
My year is going great. It's actually about 6 months over. I started as president in November of 2010, and so at the end of October this year will be the end of my year.
Right.
And Ray Bennis will be taking over. He's president-elect now, and he'll be taking over as president in November. My year's going well. We've had some little hurdles to jump over, but we've also made some improvements and some changes.
Right.
We just had a brand new fundraising event that was incredibly successful. We had our first annual benefit comedy show, which was held at Coastal Carolina University's Wheelwright Auditorium, and that was a huge success.
Right.
We did that in cooperation and in partnership with the Rotary Club. And as you know, from me being involved in the Rotary Club of Conway, that was an arrangement that I helped facilitate because I wanted to help both organizations. I thought if we could raise money for both the Chamber and the Rotary Club, that would be a win-win success for us.
Right.
We had 5 great comedians come in from local clubs in the Grand Strand area.
Wonderful.
We sold, I believe, about 750 tickets.
Oh, come on, Tom.
And,
really? For the
had 650 attend, and Carolina Cool was our presenting sponsor, and collectively we raised profit more than $17,000 for both organizations. I was very proud of that.
In an inaugural event, that's tremendous, Tom.
And I think, I want to thank Coastal Carolina University and Carolina Cool and folks like that for their support in helping us make that possible.
That's tremendous.
If you didn't attend, I know there were obviously many who did, but if you didn't attend, we plan on doing this every year.
Yes.
Around the end of March. So please try to come next year if you can.
How exciting, Tom. That must be very, very exciting to be involved in that on the ground floor and to know being involved with those 2 organizations here, the Conway Chamber, Conway Rotary, and bringing it all together at Coastal and Carolina Cool. So many folks making that happen. To think selling that many tickets and to have that many folks actually in attendance on an inaugural event is probably bigger than the first year of the marathon. I mean,
it was actually, when I first walked out on the stage and saw the crowd that was actually in attendance that day, it kind of took my breath because I really didn't have that information before I stepped out. So
that's hilarious.
It was quite interesting. But I'm very proud for what it did, not just for the Chamber, but for the Rotary Club.
Right.
I am, as I said, a member of the Rotary Club of Conway, and I really believe in service above self and what Rotary does for not just Conway, but the entire Grand Strand area. Every one of the Rotary clubs are very strong in Horry County, serving their individual communities.
Sure, sure. Let's talk about some of the challenges facing the Chamber staff and the Chamber board, your volunteer board of directors.
Yeah, the economy is definitely playing a huge impact and giving us some incredible challenges. The members, our individual chamber members, I know many of them are small business owners who are struggling in this economy, and we're trying to do what we can as an organization to help them and support them and encourage them in many ways, and many of the benefits that I'm sure Bridget spoke about.
She did, right.
One of the things that I want to try to convey to our members is the importance of keeping a positive attitude. We have to stay positive on this, and I know it's easy for me to say, but it's important that you speak that out. I'm going to be successful. My business is going to do well, and not just sit around. You know, from a faith perspective, and I do believe in God and profess Jesus as my Lord and Savior. From a faith perspective, you know, you can say you believe in God, but Moses believed in God, but he put a corresponding action into work for that belief in God.
Right.
So as I say to a business owner, you know, you can trust God to help your business, but He wants you to put some effort into making that happen. And I know business owners are working hard, but that attitude, putting that to work for yourself is just as important. So when I say that, having a positive attitude, go to the meetings, attend networking opportunities.
Right.
Get out there and do what you've got to do to help your business survive this economy. You know, and I'm in sales and been in sales most of my life.
Right.
I can sell something to someone if they come to my door, but the majority of the selling that I do is where I go out and encourage them to buy.
Right.
And if you have a business that's retail oriented or service oriented, you're going to have to get out of the box. You're going to have to do some things a little bit unusual, as they all know, and is all that they're experiencing. They've got to do some things differently in today's economy.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that's facing our members now. The Chamber's staff is trying to do what they need to do to retrofit those benefits to try to help those members who are struggling with the economy. And internally ourselves, you know, sponsorships are not what they have been in the past in terms of some of the events that we've done because of the economy.
Right.
Membership has declined slightly, but we've had 50 new members join to offset those declines.
Tremendous.
But anytime you have a reduction in revenue, it hurts the bottom line. And the Chambers had a slight reduction in revenue, so we're trying to offset that by increasing our revenue.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I would say one of the obstacles that we face is trying to maintain the Chamber in all aspects, maintain the Chamber staff, maintain this building, take care of it like it needs to be taken care of. And those are things that are challenges for our staff and for our board.
And you are the head cheerleader. I mean, you are, as it relates to the board and the staff, really having to pump up the board. You're working with the board on a constant basis to keep their attitude positive as well.
Well, you know, I think if you assume the position of president of any organization, you have to assume that responsibility.
Right.
My approach has always been to try to be an encourager of individuals to get the most out of them in terms of just having a positive attitude.
Right.
I can get in situations where I feel like sometimes that I'm butting my head up against the wall. I know you do, and all business people do in situations. But again, as president, no matter how dark the cloud is, there's a sunny side to it, and I always try to focus our board of directors and our staff on the sunny side of that cloud.
Right.
It's like the old adage, the glass is not half empty, it's half full.
Yes.
So there is a brighter day coming, and I can say that to you, Greg, with all certainty.
Right.
There is a brighter day coming. Now, it may not come next week. It may not come next year, but it is coming. And that's the kind of attitude I want to convey to everyone that I'm around. You have to stay focused on that brighter day.
Which is beautiful, to have Christ as the centerpiece of your life, and to be a true believer, and to recognize how critical his role is in your life.
It's important to understand your role in this world and in this situation, and I feel like God has placed me here at this point in time, even sitting here right this moment and having the opportunity to speak with you about the Chamber and about the Lord is an opportunity that He placed me in. So I want to make sure that I'm doing what I should do that's acceptable to Him. All my service, as I pray for myself, is acceptable to the Lord.
Yes, yes, Tom. You know, one of the things we didn't talk to Bridget about yesterday is the rest of her staff. Share with viewers a little about the Chamber staff. Yes.
Well, Bridget is our Executive Vice President. She's actually in charge of the operation of the Chamber on a day-to-day basis. We also have Kelly James, who works immediately underneath Bridget in terms of she handles the finances of the Chamber. She pays accounts payables, receive accounts receivable. We also have Tina Gerald, who is our receptionist and front office person. Now, both Tina and Bridget do a lot of work directly with our members, corresponding with our members, and Tina is very, very experienced in her computer skills and internet skills, and she does a lot of work for us by email and with our websites.
Tremendous, yes. So
we have 3 folks.
You've got a heck of a lot of volunteers, even beyond the board itself. I mean, you've got a lot of volunteers constantly involved.
Hundreds.
In supporting the Conway Chamber of Commerce. Committees probably come into play a good bit, Tom. How is the Chamber broken out as it relates to the board members and the committees and even the volunteers along with those committees?
Sure. We actually have 5 executive committees that are led by vice presidents, and they all do work in different areas for the chamber.
Right.
Our vice president of economic development and government affairs works with working with the relationships that we have with elected
right.
officials. Also coordinates our our monthly breakfast programs that we try to coordinate. And we also have the Vice President of Public Affairs.
Right.
And that handles the newsletter and also coordinates the annual meeting for the Chamber, which is held every October,
sure.
the middle of October. And then you talked with Shane recently, Shane Hubbard. He's Vice
President. Be with us tomorrow, actually, yes.
Okay, I apologize.
Right.
I got my schedule wrong.
No, that's good.
Shane Hubbard is in charge of community affairs, and he's actually responsible for organizing the River Fest event,
yes.
Conway Christmas Parade, and that's also a part of the comedy show. So that's a pretty active committee.
Boy, that is.
We also have one that focuses on education in the area.
Good.
And the Educational Affairs is responsible for the Conway Leadership Program and the
right.
Conway Youth Leadership Program, and those are very important aspects of what this chamber does. That is not in any way a money-making situation for the Chamber of Commerce.
No.
That is a service to our community from an educational standpoint.
Sure, sure.
You know, those are just some of the committees. We have many other subcommittees who work off of those. We also have a membership committee.
Good.
That has 4 or 5 committees underneath it who do many functions and what have you. And we have a training committee where we have someone who's actually developing webinars and seminars here to try to
right.
help our small businesses. SCORE is also working cooperatively with us in many ways. Ray Bennis, who is president-elect, is very heavily involved in SCORE.
The Grand Strand chapter of SCORE. Sure.
I mean, this chamber is not just about events. I mean, it's, as we've said before, it's a support organization for our members.
Right.
If your business is struggling, then you need to come into us and see if there's something we can do to help you, either through some training that we have or
right.
to get you connected with some advisors with SCORE.
That's tremendous, Tom. We're running out of time, and I wanted to make sure we had a chance to highlight, you talked about attitude. That's clearly a big goal, a personal goal of yours to help get across and to strive towards. Are there any other personal goals of yours in the remaining 6 months as service as president of the Conway Chamber, as well as in your future service as past president, which will continue, I suspect, for many years to come?
Well, I would just say to you, Greg, that I would like to finish out my year as president of the chamber, and keep folks focused on the brighter future that's ahead. You know, I know, as we've talked about, that the economy is struggling at times, but this chamber has a great history in this area. And this building itself, we do have a little bit of debt on this building.
Right.
And that one of the things that I would like to see accomplished over the next 5 years is that we develop a successful capital campaign that'll satisfy this debt, pay off this building, so that this building is totally available and there's no cost to the chamber or its members going forward. So that's one goal I'd like to see. But if I could leave this position as president with my board of directors and my committee members, it would be that it was a good year, that we worked hard, we did the very best we can, but we stayed positive in the process.
That's tremendous. Tom, those are great goals. Hopefully you all will achieve them well beyond that.
Thanks, Greg.
So much for being with us this morning. Absolutely. Stay tuned for a little more All-American People with Tom Brown, the president of the Conway Chamber of Commerce. Coming up next. 843-248-2273. 843-248-2273 or ConwaySCChamber.com. Take the time to go online, and a lot of great information about the Chamber, opportunities for service to the Chamber, or benefits you can get from the Chamber. And you heard Tom talk about service, whether it's to Rotary, service over self. You also heard another key word he talked about, attitude. and your attitude can really make a difference. Whether you're a believing, practicing Christian like Tom and talking about a positive attitude there, a small business owner, an active person in a small business, or a volunteer or an individual yourself, you can be involved in having a positive attitude, be involved in the chamber, and be involved in celebrating life for all that it is. Tom Brown, thanks again for being with us this morning.